Hello, Sridhar. Welcome to DC Conversations. Thanks for talking to us. The work at Bangalore International Airport is very impressive. I mean, so much of greenery and all that. Why did you think something like that has to figure in a place like airport where people actually don't have so much time? When they're there, they're always rushing and things like that.
Yeah, good question. Because see what happens from an airport perspective when we all have started this journey, along with the design part of it. Because this thought, what got struck to the management and the top leadership and to the entire ecosystem of the collaborative stakeholders here is that we have to have a sustainable experience, not in isolation with respect to sustainability. Keeping passenger as a key stakeholder, the entire facility and everything, it is circling towards delivering the passenger experience and facilitates convenient travel. And that is also echoed in our BIAL's vision. From that, the touching lives part of it, we also have derived a specific sustainability vision. Like, how do we touch lives? Touch lives, in this case, for your question, if I take passenger as a stakeholder, yes, the primary thing is to ensure a safe and seamless travel experience through our airport, and also how we can grow this operations and business in a responsible way, so that we will also be able to give a sustainability experience, which also can be an influencing factor for the ecosystem, because sustainability is a collective journey. Once when we start taking this step and when we have the coalescent effect of all the stakeholders joining in this ecosystem, then we will be able to build the sustainable future for which we have committed in our sustainability vision. To sum it up your question, first thing is we have a responsibility to grow the business in a responsible way, sustainable way, to contribute to the natural capital, human capital part of it in the ESG, which we drive to the core, and also give this experience part of it also a sustainability experience. I'll just tell one of the stakeholder who had shared one experience with me in one of the seminars. Like you rightly pointed out, like even you and me as a passenger, when we have to catch a flight, sometimes if we have a very less time, our top priority is to catch the flight. So that is the time when this gentleman who traveled across multiple airports mentioned a comment like he got a different experience from a well-being part of it also, like when the security check point of view. The first time he got an experience like seeing some type of this terminal in a garden concept with a waterfall. It gives a different experience that entire stress also got away from a well-being perspective. This was a very different, encouraging feedback we got. While we focus on not only on natural capital, we also focus on the human capital of the well-being of the stakeholders. So all these things put together, it reinforces our belief that we have to grow responsibly in a sustainable way, and we have a responsibility to deliver a sustainability experience and influence the stakeholders.
So, how do you see this initiative shaping the sustainability agenda for the aviation industry as a whole?
Again, a good question, because this is not in isolation. When we talk about aviation as an industry, we'll have to have a collective journey. Today, what is happening in our case, we have come out with a specific sustainability vision, like how do we touch lives? And we have strategized into 6 key strategic pillars and 4 core foundational values: water stewardship, net zero greenhouse gas emission, community aligned noise management, sustainable procurement, sustainable mobility, and circular economy, supported by core foundational values of corporate social responsibility, which we drive as CSV, corporate social value, and behavioral change. What is that in for you and me as an individual with the stakeholders? Like, how do we contribute to our individual lives, personal lives, and compliance also a core foundational value. When we take it up, this interacts with multiple stakeholders. When we take water, it interacts with the internal operations, it interacts with these principles with the community watershed, and also with respect to the supply chain part of it. So it becomes more a 360-degree holistic approach of taking this journey towards building a sustainable future. Today, aviation has a tremendous opportunity to contribute in the space of sustainability. In our case, maybe at the later part of it, depending on your question, I will touch upon our journey. How the aviation will get shaped, because aviation is an industry where today it's growing across. If you take the Indian thing, there is a big growth potential. So again, to my answer to the first question, the aviation has to lead the way of growing with responsibility in a sustainable way. So that way, I believe, like the initiatives like what we are doing at our airport, when this also happening across in different way in different airports across the globe, will lead to accelerating the phase of building a sustainable future.
Yeah. So how has your adoption of innovative technologies and practices contributed to measurable impact?
Yeah. So, for example, if you take net zero greenhouse gas emissions, we have committed ourselves for, as we all inventorize scope 1 and scope 2 and scope 3, which means scope 1 and scope 2 is in our zone of influence with the type of emissions, what we do with respect to the fossil fuels, scope 2 being for the electricity. We are 100% renewable electricity operations now. So our scope 2 is zero. We are a net zero airport for scope 1 and 2. Scope 3 is with our ecosystem partners and concessioners. We have committed ourselves for 2050. For scope 1 and 2, we committed 2030. To the tireless efforts of the stakeholders, the management commitment, we have done it 7 years ahead of a schedule. We were the first airport in Asia Pacific, Asia, not Asia Pacific, Asia, the first airport to get the level 5 accreditation of Airport Council International. Airport Council International is a body in which the airports are members. They run the very stringent airport carbon accreditation program with various levels starting from 1, 2, 3, 3 plus, 4, 4 plus, and 5. 5 being the highest for net zero of scope 1 and 2, which we committed 2030. We have got it last year, effective May. So that way, the responsibility of intervention of technology, stakeholder collaboration, and driving it from a multi-intervention angle helped it to accelerate 7 years ahead of a schedule, which very few airports across the globe have it today. If my memory is right, around maybe as we speak, maybe around 18. This takes us now demonstrating that influences the stakeholder community to drive our scope 3 emissions 2050 target, which we have committed. Even in a water, if we take it, a measurable impact. Today, we have started improving our, dependency from a water security perspective, as well as from the improvement. We, with all these water harvesting and the groundwater recharge systems, today we are 2.36 of water positivity index. It means for every 1 liter of water we consume, we are able to replenish 2.36 times, more than double. And we also recover 2/3 of our potable water recovery from our own internal rainwater harvesting systems, which means that much amount of water, say approximately about 2 million liters per day, BWSSB will be able to give it to the public. So we are reducing the intake from BWSSB with these interventions. And when it comes to the circularity, we are practicing it from the design concept, the type of circularity principles, even on the waste management. Even we have involved a few years back collecting the plastic waste from the city, and then we incorporated 70 lane kilometers road of replacing 6% bitumen, which also reduces the emissions. That innovative way of a plastic circularity, we have laid roads within the airport. So to name a few, and also like the sustainable procurement, the type of interventions we are bringing in from guiding principles of ISO 2400, bringing this entire ecosystem into it so that it becomes a holistic journey. In our entire thing, we have multiple measurements for these things with respect to our strategic pillars, the 6 pillars and core foundational values, what I have just mentioning about it. You take any name out of that pillar, we have a solid governance system wherein which how it is measured, verified, and what is the positive impact we are able to create a value out of a framework. All these interventions which you said, the technologies and adoptions and interventions with one single motto of value creation in the journey to the stakeholders. The rest of the accreditations, awards, the platinum ratings, all those things we see, we feel like an encouraging secondary component to it. primary component is like what is the value we create with these interventions and adoption.
Yeah. And what strategies has BIAL implemented to maintain its 100% green energy sourcing?
See, for 100% renewable electricity, we have got a multi-pronged approach. If I just sum it up into 2 or 3 points, one is on-site. What much we can equip all the solar panels, the solar systems installations on ground and also on the rooftop, even on the terminal rooftop of Terminal 2, on the runway side. So all these things takes us to somewhere around 18 to 20%. Say when I say approximate it, 20% of our requirement. When as we speak, our consumption is around 160 million kWh per annum. In that, approximately 20% is generated on-site systems within the airport. Around 80% we source it through open access model through the government grid, wherein which we buy from the open access, largely solar, followed by wind and a small hydro. And we also have few months back, it came into existence, the commissioned plant also, which is producing now. Group captive model also, wherein with the equity investment also we have floated a group captive model. So on-site, off-site open access, as well as a group captive model, which takes care of our current and near-term future needs. And we are dynamically expanding this infrastructure on-site and off-site to take care of the future needs of the next 5 to 10 years of type of growth what we visualize. So this makes us 100% renewable electricity, not only for our own operations and to our partners and concessionaires who exist within this airport premises. The electricity supplied to them is also renewable electricity.
So what initiatives have you taken to strengthen community partnerships?
The community partnership, we also have a Kempegowda International Airport Foundation, which drives the entire community part of it for the organization. So the understanding the needs of the community with the multiple stakeholders, the government agencies, the community, and we have come out with 5 strategies, the pillars in the community which we are driving. That one is on the education, the health part of it, water, and also on the heritage, the culture part of it. So all this, I just make this mobile muted, sorry. So all these foundational pillars, larger focus is also be on the education front, wherein which the BIAL adopted schools, we have equipped with the sustainable infrastructure with respect to rainwater harvesting, renewable electricity, and bringing in a 360-degree holistic system, taking care of the nutritional requirements of the kids, and then development from a holistic angle. We are contributing from the needs of the society in this Devanalli Taluk with our adopted schools. We are driving the education part of it in a very significant way. We also have intervened in the water part of it, facilitating rainwater recharging systems in specific localities basis the needs. And also whatever we are doing inside this watershed, creating a new water, reservoir, I mean the ponds and other thing, also improves the watershed water table, contributing to the improvement of water table, which also benefits the society around and the community around, because the type of very dedicated water stewardship management, which also takes care of the community needs part of it. So we dynamically keep assessing this with respect to the interventions, is all these 5 pillars. This education part of this, which is also a continued aspect. Year on year, the enrollments keep increasing. We have the students' interest showing is increasing. The school dropouts are very minimal. And we also have got a state and national recognitions for this type of interventions in the school. So the community part of this is on the need basis of the community with an aim like how we can create a positive impact in the community with our interventions in a collaborative way.
So, anybody who's visited, the Bangalore International Airport can't stop raving about the design and architecture, and also how you have balanced greenery and, even the look of that. So, how did you actually achieve that? Like, striking a balance between architecture reflecting Karnataka's cultural heritage, while also incorporating low carbon, climate resilient design principles.
Interesting, because when this entire concept of Terminal 2 started, it was on four pillars: terminal in a garden, sustainability, technology, and arts and culture. Because the place where we are located, it also reflects on the arts and culture part of it. We also believe that this approach of having multiple pillars, which takes care of from connecting to the roots of the state over here. So when we and the inspiration also is like that inspired by the temple bells of South India. If you see, I'm sure if you have, I'm sure you're also
Yeah.
one of our patrons and been motivating us. And hanging onion baskets that were in the homes of North Karnataka traditionally, and these have become the signature elements of Terminal 2. Made of several minute components and put together through a very good architectural design and processes, the bells and whales are architectural and engineering masterpieces over there. So the technology within, I mean, you would have seen the type of interventions which makes the passenger part of it. Terminal in a garden, which is a very rare display of bringing the garden concept like terminal in a garden. That all these four things adds up to that. When it comes to that green architecture, which you have touched upon, this also, signifies that technology, sustainability, the green landscape, and art and culture can coexist together. It is not separate because our belief also ESG and sustainability is a part of our DNA, not only from an organizational perspective, as a human race, if you see from as human beings for several centuries, the sustainability has been part of our way of life. So we wanted to bring in something Venus. How does that get come together and creates a fantastic value over there? Green architecture, when we have certified for LEED Platinum, platinum rated building means it has multiple requirements in that architectural base, the type of raw material selection, the type of materials, construction materials procured within 400 kilometers for a specified material in the framework, which also add to the regional economy from where we procure over there, and also the renewable electricity and the rainwater related thing, and the sky roof, which gives a natural lighting and reduces the energy. So it's a way of life. If, in my opinion, if you ask me, the Terminal 2 with all these principles which you rightly asked from the design architectural, bringing in the arts and culture, the technology part, and then it's a way of life which we have cherished maybe few centuries back, or few if you see in our historical things, the sustainable way of thing. We wanted to bring back that, connect to the roots, and then demonstrate sustainability is a way of life.
Great. So what's your future plan like? Any plans to scale this up?
See, sustainability is a journey. If you ask us, we have started off well with a lot of national and global recognitions, completing ahead of a thing, significant industry leadership in the greenhouse gas emissions, water positivity with respect to the natural capital and the human capital, both in the community as well as the way we handle and improvise and empower the human capital, both internal and external. Now, if you ask us, this is just a beginning. There is a lot more to do it because sustainability, sky is the limit. But only important thing is there has to be consistency in our sustainability actions. It cannot be like we have done it today, one terminal and one project, sustainability is over. That is one part of it, design and creation, and then sustenance of it, operating it, making it as a way of life, and then each and every part of our expansion, how we can take this further. Now we are starting at everything from the design stage to build in all the elements of environmental, social, and governance, people, planet, and of economic sustainability intertwined together to have a balanced approach. So if you ask us, a journey well started, thanks to the motivation and encouragement of every stakeholders, including you as a passenger, and there is a lot more to achieve. We have set ourselves of touching lives in every domain of how do we bring this transformation of environmental and social. We have plans to bring it everything from design stage, stakeholder engagement, bring in stakeholder as the key, because in this consistency and collaboration is key with addressing the stakeholder needs and creating a positive impact to the stakeholders. Our biggest learning has been it's not in isolation, this journey. This journey is in a collaborative way. That is how we can sustain it, by creating a positive impact. So every stakeholder is important, and this collaboration has to go. We are set ourselves for next 1 decade to get into the highest sustainability practice and demonstration in all our upcoming expansions as well as our operations.
One last question. So you've kind of set a benchmark, for other airports. What kind of response have you received? Like, have there been people from other countries or states that have come in and to study the model and probably want to, replicate this in their respective regions?
Yeah, see, as I was telling, there's a mutual learning and collective journey. We are also part of multiple national and global forums within the aviation industry and beyond the aviation industry. We are also a voluntary signatory to United Nations Global Compact Network in India. We have a few hundred signatories across. And we are also part of the Airport Council International's World Environment Standing Committee. Like this, and also part of multiple national and global associations. So this is the place for mutual learning. We believe that sustainability is something to expedite and fast track this. We need to have a mutual learning so that things can be expedited fast. We are also facilitating for the other industry members multiple knowledge sharing and also facilitating seminars, conferences, site visits over here. Recently, we have done United Nations Global Compact Network India's Harmony with Nature conference. We had all the signatory companies, the majority of them visiting us. We have got our global visitors across the airports visiting us through the Airport Council International. We are also hosting the seminars and conferences, wherein which many of these concepts which we discussed, our ESG and sustainability strategy 2030 and beyond, there has been what is our been journey, what are our early successes, and what is our learning. There has been a mutual understanding and cooperation of knowledge sharing. And in some areas, we also believe that it is a good opportunity for us also to learn. It's a mutual learning which leads to building a sustainable future and coexistence. So to sum it up, some of your questions, like a lot of intertwining questions here. Now I'm understanding your questions, like it's not in isolation, because we have a responsibility to influence, collaborate consistently, demonstrate, so that not only that we continue to be sustainability excellence demonstration, we will influence our entire ecosystem and our supply chains and all our stakeholders, so that building a most holistic collaborative journey within the industry and beyond the industry.
Thank you so much for all the information and insights. Thank you so much. It's lovely talking to you. Thank you for your
Thank
time.
you.